Hello everyone, this is Autumn Moon 93, and I think in this video, yeah, I'm going to show you some of my fairfolk type books. Um, I'm only going to be able to show you some of them because a lot of them I have on ebook as ebooks. Most of my spiritual, witchy, pagan, um, new agey, metaphysical type books I have stored away on either my Kindle or my Nook. I have both. Um, and that's just because the people, well, the people I'm around most of the time, my family, um, they are very, very, very devout Christians, and they really don't need to be seeing any of my stuff. um, yeah, I am technically in the broom closet with my family, although most of my friends are aware that I am a witch. Um, and I think that's because a lot of my friends are pagan or witchy or I got a lot of new agey friends, really, like the the what do you call it? Love and light type. The love and light type. I don't mind them so much. They're nice people to be around. So, um, yeah, most of my friends are the new age, hippie, um, love and light crowd. And then I have some witchy friends who are not. um, but yeah, my family doesn't know anything as far as my spiritual beliefs or anything like that. But these books, let's get back on topic. These books I can keep around the house without getting into any difficulty because they're just about, the fair folk. And for some reason, the fair folk tend to be more tolerated amongst really devout Christians than any other kind of spirit. I mean, except maybe angels. Yeah. Um, so, I'm going to get to my books now. I think I showed you in the last video, but I'm going to show you again, Grimm's Fairy Tales. And this is the copy that I have with, I think it's a, ooh, it's, yeah, there we go. I think it's a witchy lady. Yeah, crone figure there. Um, and these, I don't know if they're kind of abridged or not. They do have all the gory details. They do. They have all the gory details of the fairy tales. Um, all the revenge, all the deaths. um, I think my favorite story in here is. Let me look at my list. Uh, Table of contents. Table of contents. Where are you? There you are. They put the introduction first. I think the table of contents should be like one of the very first things in the very beginning of the book, and then you can put the introduction. But in this book, it's the other way. I think it's the other way in most books. I don't like it. Anyway, um, well, I like the Three Little Elves, the Shoemaker Elves story, which was in the last video. But my favorite one for now, I think, is, where is she? Thumbelina. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about Thumbelina later, and I'll probably, who else? I'm gonna talk about Tinkerbell and Thumbelina and the Flower Fairies and all those fair folk types that are considered fluffy. I'm gonna talk about them because, what is that? Oh, Sorry, there was a fly on my camera. That was not a little person. um, so I'm going to talk about the little people, the sprites, the pixies, the will-o'-the-wisp. Uh, there are so many little people. The flower fairies, um, the moss people. You probably never heard of the moss people. Um, the mouse people. That I don't know if anybody else has had experience with the mouse people, but I have dreams about them, so I'm going to talk about them some other time. Um, oh, what I wanted to say about the shoemaker elves before I forget, I did miss it in the last video, sorry. Um, they don't like cats. The little elves do not like cats. Most of the other little people, like the brownies and the house spirits, they're okay with family pets. But the shoemaker elves, the tailor elves, the little people elves, don't like cats, and they're often associated with mice. So that might have something to do with the mouse people that I had dreams of. But we'll talk about that later. Gotta get back to the books. Okay, my favorite one is Thumbelina in here, and I would consider her a a flower lady, a flower fairy. Um, yes, they do exist. The little fluffy flower fairies, they exist. Let's see, I have a fluffy book, the Fairy Bible. Um, it is kind of fluffy, as far as fluffy bunny, but it has a few things about the unseelie that you want to, it tells you to be careful, so I appreciate that. And it also has quite a few rituals and how to set up different altars and meditations to do to work with the fairfolk. And some of them I have found very useful, and some of them were not so much. Um, so I think I will do a book review on this. The art is beautiful. The art in this book is it's just lovely. Who is this? So these are the sea people. Let me show you. Whoop, whoop, zip, 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 zip. Can you see that? Not too well. Ah, there, not too bright. See, I think I think the pictures are wonderful, and I would just get the book for that reason alone. Um, yes, I have Women Who Run with the Wolves. It's sort of like a feminist critique of different folklore and fairy tales. Um, it's also a very meditative book. There are a lot of repetitive phrases, um, and some people get annoyed with that. It's not a book that you want to sit down and read for information, although there is some information that's good in here. What you want to do is be in a reflective, contemplative sort of mood, and prepare before you read it to be able to absorb some of the repetitive phrases. And it's actually, reading through it, especially out loud, has helped me go into a meditative, well, light meditative state. Not like trance state, but more receptive, uh, yeah, meditative state. Um, yeah. So it's not really you're gonna sit down and read a bunch of stories. It's you're gonna read a story, and then there's commentary on it and how we might use it in a metaphorical way, and to be useful to our daily lives. And like I said, there are repetitive phrases used, and it kind of gets you into a contemplative, reflective, meditative mood. I like it. I mean, it might not be something for everybody, but I I have written all over it. I would show you, but yeah, some of the stuff is really thoughtful. Um, this has to be my favorite book. Uh, Fearless Girls, Wise Women, and Beloved Sisters. Heroines in folk tales from around the world. And this is all about the female heroines, the female characters that we don't generally hear about in the stories that we're used to hearing. Um, I believe Thumbelina is in here too, but my favorite in this book is the Wood Maiden, or the Birchwood Maiden, or the Birchwood Fair Queen, or Fairy Queen. Um, and I'll probably go over some of this with you some other time. It's it's a big book. It's kind of thick. Um, and it does have a lot, a lot of stories about the fair folk from all over the world. It's got stuff from Ireland, it's got stuff from Germany, it's got stuff from Polynesia, it's got stuff from Africa. Um, the little people are just pretty much everywhere. So you'll find some really interesting stuff in this book. This, I believe, is a picture of Venus. Yeah, I think from the Victorian, I want to say the Victorian age, but I could be wrong. You can tell that it's Venus because of the symbolism of what she's wearing. She's got a shell necklace, and Venus is associated with the sea, and she's got, I think, well, I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to go through and read again. She's got butterflies on her. She's got, I think that's mistletoe leaves. Um, yeah. Anyway, it doesn't have, well, it may, yeah, okay. It's got maps, just little maps of where the folk tales are coming from. And I don't think it has any, like, illustrations at all. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've read this book. Let me see. Yeah, I don't think there are any illustrations in this book, but it's a fun read. And some of my favorites are in here. My most favorite is in here. And I'll have to tell it to you some other time. Let's see. Oh, Yeats. Everybody, everybody should read Yeats if you're working with the fair folk at all. You should read. This is the Celtic Twilight, Fairy, and Folklore by W.B. Yeats. Uh, this this one is kind of thin, but it has really some interesting stuff in here. Um, this is it's a mix of real fair folk inspired um, tales, and also some folklore tales that don't really have much to do with the fair folk. Um, there are ghost stories in here from Ireland. These are all from Ireland, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure these are all from Ireland, and it's about the she when they're talking about the fair folk. And the premise is that it's difficult to separate the fair folk from um, discarnate human spirits. So it's got ghost stories and fair folk stories in it, because the fair folk kind of occupy the same space or a similar space to what human spirits occupy when they leave their bodies. So so yeah. So there's a kind of misty, blurry line there. But it's a good book. I would read it if I were you. It's funny too. It's got some humor to it. Another one by him. Ooh, yeah. Um, a Treasury of Irish Myth, Legend, and Folklore by W.B. Yeats and Lady Gregory. This one has some of the story of uh, Cuchulainn, the story of the men of the Red Branch of Ulster. Um, so some of the mythology is in here, and there's also some talk of the differences in categorizing the fair folk. There's the trooping fairies and the solitary fairies, the seelie and the unseelie, and it kind of gives short descriptions of what that means and um, kind of why they're categorized those ways. Let me see. And there's some poetry in here, some rhyme. One way to dispel or send away unseelie unseelie fair folk, the ones that you don't want around, is to speak in rhyme. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why that is. It may have some allusion there to spell work, because most spell work is done in rhyme. Yeah, they don't like it. They also don't like it when you whistle. Hi, lady. Hi, yeah, I'm talking. Okay, thank you. Okay, alright. They don't like it when you whistle or when you sing or hum. So there's something about, I think, the, the, the rhythm of song, and it may have something to do with frequency. I know that that's a very new agey type thing to think about and to say, but I think it may actually have something to do with the frequency, the vibratory rate that you give off when you're singing or whistling or even speaking in rhyme. I think it actually does have something to do with that. Alright, and my last one for now, because this is already getting very long. Hans Christian Andersen's Best Loved Fairy Tales. And this one, I haven't read this exact collection before, but I have read Andersen before. Um, and there is actually a story here of flower fairies. Um, it's called The Rose Elf. So there are stories of very, very little people that live in flowers. Yeah, so who knew, huh? Not so, not so silly, maybe. Well, maybe silly, but still. I don't know what else to say about this one. I haven't been through it all yet. It's another thick one. Yeah. They're like, I want to say this is like, yeah, it's about 700 pages long, and the writing's kind of small, but there are illustrations in black and white. Let me see if I can find one. Yeah, here we go. See? Whoops. That's kind of difficult to see. That's really black. But it's a picture of a night sky with stars and um, different items in the bottom. Anyway, I think that's, well, maybe this one's better. Yeah, that's a bit better. See? So black and white illustrations. Some of them are really nice. Some of them are kind of too dark to really see very well. Um, and I haven't been through all of it, so once I get through it all, I'll let you know kind of what's in there. I know that Anderson, well, I'm not exactly sure, but I believe that, well, okay, I know that he made at least some of these stories up himself. He just made them up himself, or made original stories. The Brothers Grimm, I don't believe actually did that. They actually went out and collected folk tales and fairy tales from German peasants. Um, Anderson made up a few things himself, like The Little Mermaid, I believe, was an original creation of his. Um, so yeah, some of it, some of it's very original and really doesn't have a basis in, well, may have a loose basis in folk tales and fairy tales that have been around for a long, long time. I tend to prefer things that are, well, stories that have some age behind them, that have some history. So I prefer the Grimm brothers and Yates to Anderson, but some of it is really interesting of what he wrote so far. So I'm not gonna be too quick to judge him. So I think that's it for now. I have a whole lot of other fair folk books, but they're mostly about drawing and painting and lots of artwork. And I think these are the ones that I wanted to go over that actually have stories in them that you can go over and read and enjoy and learn something about the fair folk through the historical stories that have been told about them for at least hundreds and hundreds of years. I think that's it for now. So I'm going to say goodbye, and all stars shine on your path.